I won't call you by individual by name, but we honor you and we respect you each in your respective places.
Yes, sir.
And we want to just greet you very briefly. We're not going to make this a long thing. We're just going to get right to the point. Certainly, we are here for one reason and one reason only. This is not about my campaign. This is about a statement that was made by a sitting official, elected official, who happens to be in the personage of Senator Jason Pizzo, who represents one of the Senate districts here in Miami-Dade County. Directed a statement toward another state legislator who happens to be myself in Politico on August the 5th at 11 p.m. I believe that was what the paper indicated. And we are here to address that issue and that issue alone. We're not here to talk about bills and what we voted for. We have already done our fiduciary responsibility as the state legislator when the session ended this past legislative session. So I'm here now to address this. When I heard that, it just took me back some years. When I was 13 years old, I attended the funeral of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And I can remember right now, it's so vivid in my mind and in my heart that I made a commitment that I was going to continue to be a builder of people and unifying our community and working toward Dr. King, what he called a beloved community. But when I read that statement from Senator Pizzo, that really just took me back to the days of Jim Crowism, took me back to the civil rights time. And I had the privilege of working with many civil rights leaders in this country. This young man who spoke, Mr. Young, we have worked with many of our leaders who are still living and those have passed on, such as the Reverend Jesse Jackson. I served as his point man, as his president here for the organization, the local chapel Operation Push. I served with Martin Luther King III in Atlanta on the national board of SCLC and served as the national recording secretary, and in a very brief time served as the national president. Dr. Joseph Lowry, Dr. Fred Shuttlesworth, and the list just goes on and on and on. Dick Gregory, and the list just goes on and on and on. So when I heard that, it just took me back in those moments of civil rights. Let me just set the record straight, and I'll take my rightful place. Let me set the record straight. For the senator to use what we consider a derogatory statement referring to me as a female dog, it's obvious that the senator is confused. Number one, and that is not in a disrespectful manner, he's confused. So let me clear that up for him. I have never been a dog or a female dog for anyone. I will never be a dog for anyone, and but I'll tell the senator who I am and whose I am. First of all, I'm a proud black man.
Amen.
I'm a ambassador of Jesus Christ. I carry the gospel. So the gospel,
Amen.
I carry the gospel for the Lord.
Amen.
I am a husband. I am a father. I am a grandfather. I'm an uncle. I am a community activist. I work with many of these great leaders that are standing behind me today, and I will continue to be an advocate for truth and justice. Dr. King said that injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere.
Yes, sir.
And to use that that word, should I say that racist word,
Yes, sir.
it is unacceptable for our community. Why? Number one, if you call me, and I'm the male of my household, a female dog, well, what you gonna call my wife?
That's right.
You might well say you have called her not only a female dog, that word which relates to that, but you might have called her the other adjectives that a lot of times in the past our women have been degraded and been called all kind of names. I came up in a time, and I'm old enough, I came up in a time when we were called boys. We were called the N word. I came up when young African American men were shot down in the streets. I came up during the time in the era, because I was born in February 13, 1955. I came up in an era where we were always given the N-word and those adjectives and those pronouns that were not nice to African American men. And so we stand today to say, and this is not about, like I said, destroying the senator. We want the senator to know that this is not his district.
Amen.
And we are asking we are demanding, I'm not going to ask him anything, we're going to demand that he cease and desist from interfering with the works that has to be done in this district. Right now, when I leave here today, we have black senior citizens. I have women, middle-aged, young African-American women who's the head of their household are sleeping in cars, who are sleeping in the parks, who are going into fast food restaurants taking wash-ups. The children going into fast food wash-up going on as we speak.
Yes, sir.
This is more important to me than to even respond. I normally, and this man, I tell you, I normally don't respond to my critics. I just do what I have to do. But this issue was so serious, Pastor, that I received calls from around the country. Just this morning, I received a call from one of the brothers in Memphis, Tennessee. I received calls from Jacksonville, from Tallahassee, saying how disturbed and how angry they are of the senator using that derogatory term, not only against me, he used it against them because I represent the state of Florida. Right. He also not only directed that toward me, he directed that toward 100,000+ citizens in the district that I represent, which is the 109th district of the state of Florida, Miami-Dade County, and the 22 million Floridians here in the state of Florida. I want Senator Pizzo to know that we are both governed by the code of conduct that regulate us in the Florida House as well as the Florida Senate to be always polite and always be respectful and to always follow the code of conduct that is becoming of senators and representatives. I have always tried to do that, and I will continue to do that. But I will not sit back and allow anyone in the Florida House and the Florida Senate, I don't care what group they come from, whether they come from a group that their ideology and their philosophy don't agree with me, I will be the first one to stand with them and denounce these kinds of attacks. Now, you know, amazing thing. Here it is, an African American, and I've been in this now going on 15 years, have now learned how to work in a bipartisan way to get things done for this community. And all of a sudden now, I'm being attacked because I'm helping black 501c3s, helping black families, helping black children to receive funding out of a $112.1 billion budget. But as long as the Democratic Party says that we are part of the quilt, we are under the tent, we're there as long as we don't deviate and become independent thinkers. But once a black man or a black woman become an independent thinker and differ in any of the bills or any of the appropriations that they bring before this body or the legislative body, then we are attacked by progressive Democrats who are out of control. And what we're saying to Mr. Senator Pizzo, we want you to be censored by the Senate. We want you to consider resigning from that position because it has happened before in the Senate. And I want to put you on notice. There's leaders around this state have already said to me, they are waiting for you to come. And you're not going to come there and be able to use these kinds of terms and receive the African American vote. With that in mind, I want to thank you for coming I want to thank each of our friends for being here, and I want him to apologize to every black mother. I want him to apologize to every black woman and the living, the dead, and the unborn. He owe it because if he said it to me, and I have a mother.
Yes, sir. That's right.
I have a mother. She's dead. So I'm standing in proxy for every black woman who watched their boys suffered or watched. Many of them was heartbroken because of the system that exists during that time. So he just slapped the dead, the living, and the unborn. And I'm asking him to apologize to every black woman and mother in this state of Florida. With that, thank you so much.
Amen.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you accused the senator of making it about, you listed, that he attacked you because bringing resources, or he attacked you because you're helping 501c3s. He said you didn't leverage your relationship with the governor, end up being, and I'm not gonna repeat it, but do you want to comment on, or could you provide comment on his point of criticizing you, your votes in the legislature?
I don't engage in conversation that lacks intellectual integrity.
Thank you.
And I am not going to, this is not about votes. This is about a statement that this man, who is a sitting elected official governed by the Florida statutes, the code of conduct, of conducting himself in such a way that won't bring shame to the state of Florida. Don't you know that this is bringing shame to the state when you have two elected officials in the general public going back and forth on racist statements that was made, whether to whoever? It is not a good light in terms of the state of Florida. We are trying to make sure that we put on a good face so people will want to come all over the world to the state of Florida. And I would not be a part of back and forth with any representative, and I'm not going to be back and forth with Senator Pizzo. All I'm saying to Mr. Pizzo, what we want you to do is to stay out of the black neighborhoods, trying to determine who represent us, who's taking his money. He's a rich fella. I come from a poor background. I am a son of 13 children. I know what it feels like to live in a house, a wooden house. I know what it looks like to pull up a window and put a stick in it. I know what it looks like to have 13 children that my mother and father raised. I know what it looked like sometimes just having a little to go to sleep at night, not having the luxury. So I understand that as a black man. We are not going to have black men, and especially black women, being manipulated in our neighborhood with people with money. You're gonna respect the black woman.
Yes, sir.
You're gonna respect the black woman. I have granddaughters, and some of you might have daughters in here. Mm-hmm. And you're gonna respect our daughters at all costs.
Yes.
Your money is not going to give you a hiding place to throw rocks and hide your hand. If you throw a rock today, we're gonna look at everybody's hands and we're gonna find out whose hand that rock was in,
Absolutely.
and we're gonna call you out.
Yes, sir.
So I'm not going to go back and forth with Senator Pizzo. All I'm saying is that he owed an apology to every woman, every black mother, every black female in the state of Florida, and they should demand it at all costs.
Do you think his statement or your votes are less impactful than his statements?
Let me tell you something. In Tallahassee, you go and ask the governor of the state of Florida. The governor has never asked me for a vote. He has never asked me. He doesn't need my vote.
So you gave it?
Because they have the votes to be able to get everything done. Never did any of the Republicans ask me to vote for anything. Why? Because they have the votes. But this is the subliminal, wicked, diabolical taxes that some of the people who's involved in this process, what we call politics, who get paid to deliver votes and to keep black folks angry during election time. The Democratic Party, all they do is keep black folks angry by putting out big words, like my friend said, she's under attack. Put things out that say that they said this or he said this, and then what they depend on because they feel that we are emotional people. We don't do our research. I don't think we're that stupid. I think we are very intelligent people, and they want to drive off of the fact that we can go on this emotional train. Those days are over. They're over, and we're not going to allow some rich fellow to come into our neighborhood, grab young people to do his bidding, and throw the rock and hide his hand. We're gonna call out everybody from now on who does this.
Can I get a yes or no? Do you think your votes are less impactful than his statement?
I am not gonna I said I was not gonna engage in a conversation that lacks intellectual integrity. This is not, I'm not going to get into about Pizzo voted my vote. This is about Mr. Pizzo disrespecting this neighborhood. That's what this is about. It ain't about no vote.
Yep.
And I want you to go back and let him know that. Okay, since he sent you to get that information from me, take the word back that this is not about Bush and Pizzo. This is about my black sisters.
Yes, sir.
Every one of them in here. How many fellows believe that these are precious jewels?
Yes, Lord.
This is what this
You
is
haven't
what.
answered the question.
Well,
that
I'm not.
he asked,
No.
Also, a black-owned business asked me to be here.
Oh,
So don't
well,
say
no,
Christian
you know
Center.
what, let me be the first one, because I should, I was just really being sarcastic, and I do owe you respect for that. So let me just back that up. I was just being a little sarcastic, so I wasn't trying to be disrespectful, but this is, I'm not answering questions pertaining about Pizzo vote and Representative Bush vote. I only want to answer the fact that he disrespected this community by using the female dog term, and that calling me as a male that, certainly I know in public, in the general public, I know probably what would happen when he's in private calling my sisters that. And we want him to cease and desist, stay out of our black neighborhoods with your money. We don't want your money. We want you to leave our business alone. I think one of the speakers said, we don't need you coming over here helping us. I've been out here for 50 years. I have been on these streets. I have helped many brothers and sisters who wanted to take their lives. And I have ministered to them. And they are now walking around here of productive individuals. I have senior citizens every day come to my office. I got about 15 cases right now I got to deal with who are on fixed incomes. Their roofs are leaking. They have tarps on their roof. They are trying to get medication. These are the issues that Representative Bush is concerned about. I am not going to engage in Senator Pizzo situation in terms of what I voted. I vote my conviction. All this stuff about don't say gay, the bill never said don't say gay. That bill essentially said you cannot, as a school board, create a curriculum and teach a curriculum to kids that are K through third without the sole consent of the parent. That's that bill. The bill never said don't say gay. Let me just go on the record. Representative Bush said, if you want to say gay 1,000,000 times, I have given you permission and I will not interfere with you. But I will interfere if you asking me to give up my kindergarten to third grade to talk about gender identity and to talk about sex, because that is the sole responsibility of the parent. And I don't think that we should give our children to people who showing us what they're doing to the adult.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Look what they're doing to me.
Yes, sir.
Look what they're doing to us. And guess what? Why should I trust them in the hands of my children? So with that being said, I want to just thank y'all for coming and recover.
You didn't answer.
Huh?
You didn't answer.
At this point, we're gonna conclude the press conference.
Could we get a couple of questions in here?
We'll get a few questions, but I do want, and we're here to say that's not okay.
Can I ask a question to the representative, please?
Go ahead. And we have to cut the show because at 10 o'clock, they have a movie going on here, and we do have to leave this premises, because now it's 11:15.
Got
and
it.
Yeah.
They
Thank
have
you.
got to finish
We've been
filming.
here for a while.
Yeah.
So, Representative Bush, my name is Grant Stern. I'm with Occupy Democrats. I'm also a constituent of yours and Mr. Pizzo's. Your districts do overlap in my area. And I wanted to ask, specifically in regards to Governor DeSantis, and I'm not disparaging bipartisanship. I think both of you have proven that you're bipartisan in the way that you work in Tallahassee, and I think that that's a good thing. Personally, as a journalist, I'm here to ask you, what will you do to stand up to civil rights violations by Governor DeSantis? And I want to bring up an example of one where you were attending a DeSantis event at Miami-Dade College on April 12th. You were standing on stage, and a member of the Democratic National Committee, who is one of my journalists, as well as myself, were both kicked out in front of you at the beginning of a press conference. You said earlier that injustice somewhere is injustice anywhere. But what will you do to stand up to Governor DeSantis if reelected?
Well, first of all, my job is not to be standing up to Governor DeSantis. My job is to sit at the table and negotiate as a lawmaker, as one of the 120 members of the House, and to make sure that as we navigate appropriations and as we bring bills before the legislature, if they fit within my morals, within my belief, then I vote for or against those bills. And when the bills and when the appropriations go through the full process and get to the governor, it is my job to try to go in and make sure that I can see the governor so he won't veto those bills and those projects that affect the constituents in District 109. It is not going to live up to the governor. To live up to the
He's going through something.
It's okay.
We're gonna.
around the state are calling for him to resign.
But you are also calling.
The people have asked for his resignation because this happened similar to one of the senators in the state of Florida, and that senator at that time had to resign. So the people are saying.
Who are you talking about?
Well, like I said, you do your research on that, but the people are saying that this warrants the senator to resign, and he needs to also give us an apology to every woman that looks like me in this state of Florida. So that's why
But you are also calling for his
I
resignation.
said the people.
Are you saying that you won't do anything about civil rights legislation? Florida has a lot of civil rights issues. Governor DeSantis has violated our civil rights pretty consistently.